Hello, everyone. This is day number 5. Day number 5. This is our day number 5, and we are here. We're going to talk about borderline personality disorder today. Borderline personality disorder, and I hope you're ready. And we will make sure that we peel the onion, understand exactly where where what borderline looks like. So please make sure that you join me today when we're talking about borderline personality disorder. Like we're now on cluster B. Cluster B is the we did the antisocial a few days ago, a couple of days ago, and today we were working on the borderline. And we're think up, because you hear this thrown around a lot. Oh, this person has a borderline personality. That person has a borderline personality. It is important to understand what it is, right? And so I'm going to use a metaphor today. When we're looking at antisocial, you're looking at a power grab, a mask of power, right? This person is all about power. But when you look at the borderline personality, when you see people who uh, they can feel love all through their body. They want to be loved, and they can feel the love, but at the same time they also feel fear the same way. So one moment they reach for you, the next moment they pull back. You know anyone like that? One moment they're all in, I'm all in, and I want to be a part of your life, and I want to be in your life. I want to be intimate, intimacy. But the next moment, poof, they don't want to be they don't want to be with you. They don't want to be a part of your life anymore. So they pull back because they feel unsafe, because they feel unsafe. Let's make sure we can see. They feel unsafe, and they feel naked. They feel like everything is going against them. That is not being dramatic, people. It's not that they're dramatic. It's not like they're dramatic. What is happening is that they feel unsafe. They feel like something is going to happen. So we're looking at borderline today. This is not that they're trying to be manipulative. It is borderline personality. It is borderline personality. So welcome to day 5 of our journey, looking through personality disorders. Today we're looking at cluster B. The second part of cluster B is the second disorder on cluster B is borderline personality disorder. So we're going to step into the room. So think of borderline personality this way. You can step into a room, but the room has cracked floors. Huh. How safe, how steady is that room? How sturdy is the room? So it's a room. It looks stable. It looks like any other room. The light is on. It has all the amenities. It has everything, all the furnishing, everything is there. It looks legit, but then the floor cracks. The floor cracks. The floor cracks. OMG. Then what do you do? The floor cracks. And it wasn't that you did anything. It wasn't that you did anything. The floor cracked. And the cracks begin to appear. And now everyone is disrupted. That is what it looks like with borderline personality, because something cracks inside that person. They fear rejection, they fear abandonment, something cracks. So they step into that room and they think that room is safe. But borderline personality feels just like that. You think everything is okay until it's not okay. And it's usually based on fear of loss, fear of abandonment. But it hits so fast, it hits so quickly that it disrupts the entire room. Everything is disrupted when it hits. Borderline personality disorder. So when you start telling people, "Oh, you're borderline," "Oh yeah, that person is borderline." What is that? What are we really talking about? It is a pattern of very strong emotions. They're quick shifts. It's Jekyll and Hyde, very quick shifts, and it disrupts sense of self. It disrupts relationship. It disrupts everything. People with BPD have actually, or they do experience and they fear abandonment. They fear that you're going to leave them. There's sudden changes in how they see others. One minute they're fine, and the next they're not fine with you anymore. It's always intense. The relationships are very intense, very passionate. There's anger that can, rise very quickly. They will have this intense bondings, and then they'll pull away. They feel everything, but they're also very impulsive actions. And there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in the person, in that personality. There's all of this pain. There's a sense of emptiness, like there's something missing. Self-harm is happens sometimes during their emotional storms. They could hurt themselves or others. This intense feelings, I don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with it. They want connection, but then they fear that they're not safe. So they react from panic. There's panic entrenched in the nervous system. It's not from a desire to be mean. It's from a desire to self-protect. It's from a desire to self-protect. I need to protect myself, and this need comes very quickly. So if you have someone who, they freeze relationships, or we call it the relationship freeze. And what happens is, they tell you, "Oh my gosh, I love you so much. I love you so much. I want to be with you. I want to make sure that everything is okay with us." And they are doing everything to keep the relationship. And all of a sudden, they just react, they panic because maybe you did not respond to their text quick enough. You didn't respond to the text quick enough. Immediately they're going to show a very strong reaction. They're going to block you. They are going to um, think that you're going to leave, so they will leave before you even say anything, or they'll just get very angry. They'll get very angry, but the anger is laced in fear. The anger is laced in fear. All right. So you fight. The first scenario that we painted is the one that is, they'll freeze the relationship. They'll freeze those relationship. Or you have the other scenario is they'll just disappear. So they'll be gone for days. Anytime they feel overwhelmed, they will leave. So they can be gone for days. We call it ghosting. They'll ghost you for days. Your friend might assume that, uh, they just assume that maybe you just don't want to be with them, or something is wrong. But the borderline personality feels ashamed of their emotional intensity. This is too intense. So when it's so intense, when the storm starts, they will leave and they will return when the storm settles. It's very difficult to have a relationship that way, because one minute they're good, the next they are gone. So there's a relationship freeze, there's a disappearing friend, and then let's look at just sudden anger. So think of Maria, your coworker. Maybe they forget to say good morning. Maybe they didn't say hello the way they should have said hello to you. Immediately, the mind is going to, Maria is going to think, oh, there's something wrong. I'm being rejected. All right. I'm being rejected. And this can turn into anger, like real 10 on 10 anger. Later on, they'll regret this anger. So this shift just happens. And that shift, the shift from hot to cold, is what scares people, because you never know who you're going to meet. Imagine if you're married to one, if you're a parent of one, or if your parents are like this, one of your parents is like this. It's all based on fear. It seems like manipulation, but it's not. It's fear. Fear of being abandoned, fear of being rejected. And why does this happen? It goes back to childhood, like a lot of these personality disorders. It goes back to childhood, when you have caregivers who were not consistent. If you have caregivers who were very unpredictable, who were emotionally distant, when you have those caregivers, then they learn that showing emotion will bring punishment, or it doesn't work. Inconsistency. That child from that environment then becomes very hyper aroused or hyper alert. They feel like they can read the room, they can read the tone, they can read the silence, they can read the small changes, they can read everything. They will make interpretations for everything, because they have learned to react instead of getting hurt before they get hurt. They would react, they would do something so that they don't get hurt, so they don't get left, so they don't get abandoned. There's so many myths. And around borderline disorder. A lot of myths, and people just call people, label, the borderline, narcissist, all of this. So let's look at some of the myths. You can put some down in the chat. People are mislabeled, misunderstood. So let's see what's going on with borderline personality. Remember the antisocial that we did 2 days ago? Antisocial is about power. This one is about fear. Too intense, too emotional, too overwhelming. So let's look at myth number one. Myth number one, BPD are manipulative. Their reaction comes from fear. Is a self-protective strategy. Okay. Panic that drives the behavior, not the desire to control. Not the desire to control you. They panic. They're not trying to manipulate, but they're fearful. Myth number two, they enjoy drama. It's just so dramatic. Borderline too dramatic. Because it's a lot. living with somebody with borderline personality, especially that's not been managed, because they feel this emotional highs. So this emotional emotions with very high intensity, but they want stability. They want stability, but the emotional storms drain them. It drains them too. You know, the emotional storm drains them. They enjoy their connections. They want to enjoy their connections. But this emotions within them, it's like a hurricane in a bottle. It's bottled up. Myth number 3. They switch from love to hate on purpose. No, they're not doing it on purpose to hurt anyone. When they feel safe, okay, this is what happens. When they feel safe, they attach. When they feel safe, they attach. When they feel that they're at risk, when they feel threatened, they will withdraw. When they're overwhelmed, they will withdraw. It's their emotional reflex. It's their emotional response. They will withdraw. This makes sense. Another myth: they cannot BPD cannot maintain relationships. You know, many build steady relationships if they've learned to manage their symptoms, if they've learned grounding techniques, if they've learned how to emotionally regulate, they can actually maintain healthy relationships. It's not a life sentence. Another one is BPD cannot heal. People with BPD cannot heal. That's not true. Many improve with treatment. When you if you do like DBT work, trauma-centered work, it can, and then you have stable support, it can lead to recovery. The problem is a lot of the challenge is when the person with BPD in your life is not ready to work on it. When they're not ready to work on it, it can be very disruptive. It can be very debilitating. So people with DPD will experience, very fast emotional reactions, like we said, very fast emotional reactions. Their sensitivity is on high. They have sensitivity to tone, sensitivity to expressing emotions. They are longing for closeness. They want to be close, but they don't know how to maintain that. So their emotions will rise and fall. It peaks very fast and it drops very fast. So the challenge is learning. How do we learn how to ride the waves without you getting, without you sinking? How do you ride this wave? Can you stay in a relationship with someone like that without losing yourself? Because they fall in love very deeply, but their fear is also very deep. And you cannot control that. And it's not about you. For those of you around them, it's not about you. It's not what you did, so don't blame yourself. It's not what you, it has nothing to do with you. They look in the mirror and they feel like a different person each day. Sometimes from hour to hour, it feels different. But if there's support, if there's an environment that is nurturing, if there's an environment that is supportive, it could work. That can work. So when they shut down, when they feel rejected, or when they shut down in when they shut down like that, it's time to say, hey, you need your space. I'll give you your space. Does this make sense? So Loneliness is also a big part of this. Loneliness. They often feel alone even when they're surrounded by people. They feel alone. They feel isolated. They feel like they're the only ones. Nobody understands me. All right. So, some of the effective approaches, like I said, if we're looking at psychodynamic, if you're looking at trauma focused therapies, those will work. But also, practicing of mindfulness works. Mindfulness, meditation, being centered, somatic work on your body, work on regulating your nervous systems. All of this works. You understand? So, getting support from loved ones. So, if you love someone with BPD, use clear words. Use clear words. Use clear words and keep your boundaries. Keep your boundaries. Keep your boundaries. Don't try to be the Messiah, the Savior of the world. And don't try to match their intensity. Don't try to match their intensity. When they're at a 10, you don't need to be at a 10. You will be drained because this is the way they function. So don't try to be that way. Make sure that you don't lose yourself in the relationship because it's very easy, especially if you're protecting yourself. It's very easy to lose yourself. So don't try to match their intensity. Don't try to match their intensity. That's not going to work. Some of you have been broken and battered in these types of relationships. There's help for everyone, right? It's a BPD is not a flaw. It's an emotional wound. It's an emotional wound trying to protect itself. And so there is help available. If this feels familiar to you, though, join our healing circle at the end of this 10-day blitz that we're doing in personality disorder. Join our healing circle. Just DM the word join healing. Join healing. Tomorrow, we're going to look at histrionic personality disorder. And after this, the day after, we'll look at narcissistic personality disorder. But I hope we've had this conversation about borderline and we have challenged some of the myths, brought some kind of humanity to those who are understanding to those who are suffering from this disorder. When we're talking about BPD, it's because of what has happened to you in childhood. And you are afraid. You're afraid of getting lost. You're afraid of being abandoned. And this comes out as anger. This is as anger. You're so angry 1 minute and then you're loving the other one. It's exhausting to those who love you. It's exhausting. So I encourage you, if you are the one with the diagnosis, or if you saw yourself in the facts that we talked about today, then please get some help. And if you are the lover of, or a family member of, or a friend of somebody with BPD, I also encourage you to help yourself. Do not lose yourself there. Do not die in that relationship. It's not worth it. You need to protect yourself. There's a scripture that says that a dog who is alive is better than a lion who is dead. It basically means no matter how powerful you are, if you're not here, there's no hope anymore. So do everything you can to save yourself before you save the other person. Save yourself first. Don't die in relationships that have overwhelmed you, that have put you in a place where you no longer know who you are. I wish you well. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow for Histrionic. Bye bye. And thank you for the love. All right. I think we have about 25 minutes. All right. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.